Hi guys, welcome to the Pathbreakers, the podcast that celebrates leadership and social impact. And I am Rhadem, and today we are joined by this amazing woman who are trying to reshape governance and social enterprise in the province of Tawi-Tawi, in the region of Bangsamoro, Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao. So this episode today is powered by and presented by the Royal Embassy of Belgium here in the Philippines, and in collaboration with the Astbury, Asia Pacific Film Institute, and Adobo Magazine. So our guest for this episode, I'm just gonna read her very lengthy introduction so that hindi ako magkamali. So our guest for today is none other than Dayang Imán Sahali, the youngest and first female vice mayor of Panglima Sugala, and the founder of Mangan by Imán, an award-winning aquaculture social enterprise empowering indigenous communities in Tawi-Tawi. So today we'll dive into her journey on how she's trying to redefine leadership in the Bangsamoro region. Please welcome Dayang. Dayang, thank you so much for giving us opportunity to hear your story here at Pathbreakers.
Anytime, especially for you. You know that.
So let's start with, can you bring us and the audience into a journey on how was life growing up in Panglima Sugala or in Tawi-Tawi? Because in the past, decades back, Tawi-Tawi is still categorized as one of the armed conflict region of the Philippines. So how was your upbringing, growing up in that kind of environment?
Growing up, we were always aware na there's this negative connotation about our province na it's very violent, puno ng kidnapping, yung mga ganon na normal naman, especially if you grew up in Mindanao. But really, Tawi-Tawi has the most peace-loving people there is. We have the most beautiful natural resources. Yung mga beach namin, they're untouched. It's like a wonderful, beautiful, undiscovered gem na thankfully now more and more people are trying to discover. So, medyo nabe-break na namin yung stereotype na yon.
You grew up in a conservative and politically aligned family at the same time. And also, Muslims as well.
Yes.
Did you have any sort of experiences growing up in that kind of environment that really paved you for who you are right now?
Well, yeah, of course, a large part of who I am now as a woman, as a leader, as an elected official. I really, I give credit to my family, especially to my grandfather. So growing up, of course, I knew na being, the granddaughter of Dayang Sahali, of the former governor of Tawi-Tawi, and being the daughter also of Ruby Sahali, another amazing woman that reshaped the political landscape in that province. I knew there were certain expectations on how we should act, how we should talk, and of course how we should end up in life. But looking back, ever since I was young, I never really even dreamt of becoming a politician or being in the public sphere, kasi parang I personally saw the negative side of politics or the negative side of public service. So never ko talagang inisip na I'll be in this position right now. But again, Allah has bigger plans than we would ever know, and then now I'm here. And my style of leadership kasi, of course, it's malaking factor talaga yung religion. So parang dignity, respect for others, and yung mga cultural connotations nun, it's based largely on our religion, which is Tawi-Tawi is a predominantly Islam province and part of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao.
Pero I'm curious, because we grew up kasi sometimes our family has designed a path for us to take, and sometimes we deviate from that.
Yeah.
I mean, ano yung original plan na parang dream mo supposedly when you were younger?
Oh my God.
Yung path na supposedly na your family probably designed for you or you were hoping to take?
Yeah. Well, of course, you know this. I'm a frustrated lawyer, you guys. I really wanted to go into law school and that was the plan. So, but my dream talaga was that I would go to law school abroad. So I actually got accepted na sa New Zealand. Yeah, Auckland University. So that's the dream, diba? Mag-aral abroad, pursue law abroad, live there. Yung mga ganong dreams when you're young na parang, this is what dreams are made of. Very Lizzie McGuire. Yung datingan na parang I wanna live abroad where nobody knows me and I wanna experience this brand new life na parang independent living and stuff like that. But yeah, initially I really wanted to be a lawyer. And then when like a few years ago when Mangan by Imán started, I thought that was my career path na alam mo yung NGO, working with the United Nations. You get my drift. Yes. Yeah, so initially and at first I really thought that was the path that I was going into na. Kasi my career during that time was doing really well. It was doing incredibly well. So, but alas, the opportunity arise and I guess when the call of leadership, calls you, then you need to answer.
I've noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just my observation.
Okay.
So based on the track record and performances of your predecessors and your family members who were once in the position of power or public service, your type of leadership are quite different from all of them.
That's a nice way of putting it. Well, yeah, of course. Firstly, I would like to say na I hold deep respect and appreciation for the type of leaders, of my family or those who came before me. People who used to hold my position or the current people in government now. I have deep respect for how they run the province and how they, alam mo yun, kung paano nilang patakbuhin yung probinsya namin. But again, I feel like the world now is rapidly changing, and at the same time, I feel like since the world is rapidly changing, the type of leadership should also change. Hindi naman pwedeng stagnant na lang or parang traditional na lang parati yung ways of leadership natin, especially coming from a rural province, from an island rural province. I really get it.
When you took the opportunity and also, when you took the opportunity of being a public servant, it comes with certain challenges.
Of course.
What were the challenges? But I also wanted us to highlight ano yung impression or comments of the people, especially from the conservative side. Because we have this in Bangsamoro and also in the massive society as in the southern part of the Philippines wherein they would always say na leadership is not for women.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And you thrive and you were doing well in that position. But of course, it's not a position wherein everyone will just gonna agree with. There will always be people who will not agree with what you do and why you are there. Can you cite an example in regards with the challenges being a public servant and a woman?
Okay, so first of all, I'm lucky enough that in Panglima Sugala, yung munisipyo namin, they're used to powerful women leading. So, in regards to my gender, I didn't have much problem leading because of my gender nor my age. Kasi, Panglima Sugala is the birthplace of parang Amazon women, the birthplace of women that reshape the political landscape of the province. Pero pag lumaki, if you look at if you look at it from a broader perspective, like umakyat ka sa province, like sa provincial politics or even sa regional politics, then I guess I would say na there's really a stark difference. Like if I would attend so since I'm a vice mayor, we have what we call the VMLP or the Vice Mayors League of the Philippines. So whenever I attend functions of that league, I am always the youngest, probably the youngest female in the room, and I could probably count with my two hands the number of women that attends. So like sa VMLP BARM, I'm the only female officer that was elected and I'm also the youngest. So there's always parang a contrast, and you will see na parang there's really a contrast to the male to female ratio. But aside from that, actually it's funny kasi I've never really had much, I've never heard much comments about my type of leadership na I'm a woman or because of my age, but I always hear people making comments about my marital status, and that's because I'm single. I'm unmarried.
But you're young!
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Do they expect you to get married right away at that age?
Yes, kasi in our culture, it's very normal for younger people to get married as young as 16, 17. You know this, diba? 16, 17, 18, arranged by families or whether out of their own free will. Especially for politicians, I would say it's really, like right now, it's really hard to pinpoint certain parang my age na politicians in BARM na babae rin na single. So parang I always hear them comments and I'll never forget on my, like, I'm still on my first term, pero on my first like year in office, there was this old man who told me na parang, Vice, kailan ka mag-aasawa para someone can lead you na?
I think it's also
So, ako parang, so someone can lead me na, di sana yung magiging asawa ko na lang yung, yung pinatakbo nyo, di ba? Pero yeah, which is, I think, surprising. But not really surprising, pero not really of course, it's related to my gender because I'm an unmarried single woman. Pero more on my marital status talaga yung comments na naririnig ko. Like
So,
parang, not even from other people, like, even from like, close relatives or supporters, they're always like, when are you gonna get married? Ganyan-ganyan. And then they make this side comments na for a lot of people or for that community, it's very okay, it's very normal. But for me, again, it's very parang, why are you saying that? There's a deeper reason or parang there's an innate, I guess, misogyny on why you're saying those comments.
But I could also say that is a typical as well, Filipino stories. Like,
Yes.
mag-asawa ka na,
Exactly.
kailan pa ba? And,
Exactly.
And it's as if that's the women role to really find a husband, which women are more than that.
Yeah,
Right?
and there's different sense, you can find different sense of empowerment whether you're married or not, whether you have children or not. So some women find empowerment when they're married through their husband, when they have an amazing family, while some women naman, they find their innate sense of empowerment regarding their career, regarding what they do for the community, parang ganon.
It always boils down on what she decide, what she choose.
Exactly. Which I think is really, parang yun talaga yung core ng women empowerment. Like, no matter where you are, kung ano mang gusto mong gawin, parang women should just have the choice, the freedom to do what they really want to do without the judgment or without the criticism of others.
That is true.
Diba? Of course, someone out there will always question that. But for me, I just tell them na I let my work do the talking. I let my credibility, I let my past work. Even before I was an elected official, I was already a public servant. You don't need to be elected. You don't need to win an election to render service for the community. So this. I mean, I started a social enterprise. I helped the community even before I was a politician in Panglima Sugala. So, yun pa lang, it can already speak volumes na yung heart ko talaga is for the people of Panglima. And for the rest of it, sinabi ko talaga na I don't want people to say na I was put in this position to be pretty lang or to be like a token. I really want them to say na, she deserves that. She's really working. Kaya yung hashtag ko, #working vice mayor. And I work talaga, guys. Grabe ako magtrabaho talaga.
We always see photos and videos and also people talk that you really go into the ground and you really immerse with the community. But how do you connect with them?
I think that's one of, parang, even before pa, I was really inspired by, parang, alam mo yung from the bottom movement. Yung really connecting to the grassroots community, grassroots kinds of commitment, kind of leadership. Kasi parang, it's so easy to, like, you feel like you're at the top kasi of the food chain. Pero really, you need to remember na what you think is good from the top, in theory, once you apply it sa grassroots community, it's not as effective. Or worse, baka hindi nila gusto yung solution na naiisip mo. So, I feel like it's really easy, diba, to say na parang I want a participatory form of governance, diba, na parang lahat participating. Pero you don't want naman na yung participatory kind of governance is yung performative kind lang. So it's really important to connect to the grassroots level. And I do that in the sense na I really immerse myself. Anytime there's like an event, anytime there's an invitation, yung tinatawag nila binyag. kasal, burol, birthday, lahat ng ganon ina-attendan ko. Every graduation, every school activity, kahit school election lang yan, JS prom, I really make it a point to attend. Kasi I really wanna speak to the people directly. I really wanna hear their problems directly. And sa Panglima kasi, since time memoriam, talagang our house, the office is open to anybody. So anybody can walk inside my office and then talk to me na ganito yung problema. So I really have like a first-hand basis. Nakikita ko talaga kung ano yung first needs ng community.
So you connect with them basically by being present.
Yes, not only being present but really by listening. And I think that's also parang that's one of the problems that I had when I initially started. Kasi parang when you look at me, I look maldita, I look mataray, and then people know me, I grew up in Manila. So I think a lot of people found me at first na I'm hard to approach. But I think it's also a good thing kasi once they talk to me or once na nakausap ko sila, they're like, iba pala, opposite pala. So it parang may mas rapport agad.
Based on your observation, ano yung stereotype when it comes to Bangsamoro politicians?
Oh my God.
That
Are we gonna get canceled?
and what are
Am I gonna get canceled?
Kung ano mo yung typical stereotype and what sets you apart from that?
People kasi, of course, people needs to realize, and it's really good that you have a podcast like this. A lot more people need what a lot of people from the other parts of the country needs to realize is that politics and public servant in Tawi-Tawi or in BARM in general is vastly different from the kind of politics done all over the Philippines. Sobrang iba talaga siya. I think I would yung personal opinion ko doon, not opinion, pero yung personal tawag ko doon, parang very much alive pa yung datu system na parang okay, bobotohin ka namin, ikaw yung in tauso we call it, ikaw yung magtaumaas or yung parang elder sa lugar natin. Pero once you're elected, lahat sa'yo. So of course in Manila or like in NCR, syempre may mga cases rin na ganon, pero more so talaga sa BARM na lahat talaga dapat ako ni mayor or ako ng elected official. So of course yung mga normal na pambili ng gamot, 'di ba? Mga normal naman talaga hinihingi 'yan, pambili ng gamot, pampagamot, pampa-hospital, healthcare, education, normal. Pero what's not normal is, in our culture, which is number 1 na pumupunta sa akin by the way, is pag may nagtanan, kailangan bayaran yung dowry. So may share ang LGU doon. Pag nakabuntis yung lalaki, syempre kailangan bayaran din kasi ikakasal sila. Yan yung mga problems na nilalapit talaga sa akin. So, magtutulong-tulungan, syempre mauna muna sa barangay, and then pag hindi na kaya ng barangay, pupunta sa vice, pupunta kay mayor.
Kasi I've seen a lot of other politicians in Bangsamoro who are not doing the same thing, and most of the time, hindi sila nakikita in public spaces. They will only go there when there's like a big and very important occasions, and usually when they go, they just shake few hands and they leave. When you share that information about becoming an elder, that's the culture. But, I've been to Bangsamoro in a lot of areas there. Pero parang hindi yan yung nakikita at na-observe namin.
Guys, hindi nanggaling sa akin yun nanggaling yun. I'm talking about, syempre, our political and our political culture and the kind of politics we do lang in Panglima Sugala. So, and that's...
May comment ka ba sa leadership ng ibang mga... No mention of name of areas or province.
Oh my God, I'm gonna get canceled.
No, is that being canceled? But it's just good to highlight now what are the bad practices that hopefully a lot of politicians, not just in Bangsamoro, should change or should improve.
Well, I really, I'm very much aware of my privilege coming into politics. I have, yung family background ko in politics, it's very strong with my mom and my grandpa. And, my grandpa, may he rest in peace now, and then my mom has no position now. So, but either way, I'm aware of the privilege that I have. I would say that I'm a nepo baby. I would say that I'm a political nepo baby. Pero what I really wanted to change was that I didn't want other people to think na I was put in that position just because of my last name. I really wanted to work for it. like, of course, my last name plays a big part on it. A big part of it. Na parang malaki talagang factor yung last name ko, and that it has name recall, 'di ba? May name recall na siya sa tao. But I really told myself na first day in office ko pa lang, I will really work hard for it. Na other people won't be able to say na parang nilagay lang siya dyan just because of her last name. I want other people to say na she's really deserving of that position. And I worked. I would stay in the province for months on end, which a lot of politicians don't do. Don't me. Alam natin yan, especially if you're in an island municipality or yung culture ng farm. I'm really there all the time. I really worked hard for it. That's why nga sinasabi ko sa'yo, di ba? Like, because it's my first term, so I first ran for office on 2022. So yung first election ko, parang habang nagka-campaign ako, all I had was my platform before I was a politician, which was yung Mangan by Imán and the work I did in the community and my educational background. But now for this campaign, I'm really excited kasi masasabi ko talaga sa tao, sa constituents ko na I really worked hard. Nagtrabaho ako, makikita niyo ako sa office Monday to Friday. If you need me, pag may emergency, kahit Saturday and Sunday, I'm there. Any event, if I'm available, I'll make time for it. There are times na 4 simultaneous events yung pinupuntahan ko. You know this, you were a witness to this. So yun, if there's one thing na I want siguro other young politicians or young public servants in farm, like I am, that I want to change is that gusto kong parang everyone is working, na everyone does not rely lang on their, on yung palakasan or on their like family background. I want everyone to actually work on the position that they're privileged enough to have and fortunate enough to have and give back really to the community. Hindi yung parang nilagay lang there.
We've noticed that you have lobbied, advocate, and really promote a lot of progressive policies and even actively being at the local council as well to make sure that these progressive policies really get the support from the council members. One of the most controversial policy that you have pushed and championed is the first ADO, Anti Discrimination Ordinance, that protects the LGBTQIA+ community or the gender marginalized groups. And how was the process and what was the challenges before passing that and after passing that?
Okay, so before passing, so it started with when Muher, so it started really when the Muher organization, they did a human rights caravan in Panglima Sugala, and of course I was open to it. Alam mo naman ako, human rights advocate. So of course I was really open to it, and there were, it was really good kasi I invited different sectors of the community. So, Christian Catholic community in Panglima Sugala. So, of course, we also wanted to hear their voices and then hear what they have to say and yung opinion nila regarding that. We had youth organizations, we had youth leaders, we had teachers, diba? We had municipal workers during the human rights caravan, and there really was a healthy discourse regarding equal rights for everyone, people with varying SOGIE. And then during the end of that caravan, yung napag-usapan was if I was willing to champion for an anti-discrimination ordinance. And I said, no problem, I'll do my best to champion it. I'll do my best to lobby for it in the council. And sabi ko, I think there's an 80% chance that this will pass. Like, of course, it will require a lot of hard work, diba? Pero kagaya nga nagsabi ko sa'yo, lose the battle, win the war. And that's definitely what happened when we were passing that ordinance. So, the Anti-Discrimination Ordinance of Panglima Sugala is the first ever comprehensive anti-discrimination ordinance in the Bangsamoro region that has clauses safeguarding the rights of people with varying SOGIE, but also people living with HIV, which was really, really important for me. And you know me, and you know how I work. So I wanted this ordinance to be the first of many. So, parang yung nasa isip ko kasi, okay, pag napasa ko tong Anti Discrimination Ordinance, i-connect, the next step would be another ordinance more focused on battling HIV/AIDS within the community. And what was surprising really was that while my SB council is, majority of them are men. So during that time, 3 lang kaming women in the SB council. So these were older, traditional, older traditional politicians, and I really knew na passing or lobbying for this ordinance, it will take a lot of discourse, healthy or otherwise. And so funny kasi sobrang ilang beses naming pinag-awayan, hindi naman away, away is not the term. Ilang beses naming pinag-usapan kung anong papalitan, and the thing was, a lot of people think na parang, why would you need to pass an ordinance like this? Like, is it really necessary? Diba? You would receive questions like that. Like, is it really necessary for us? Or why do we even need this? But what I did was that I really tried to lobby it by grounding it on the same sentiments that we follow, that we all believe in. So respect, dignity, fairness. It's a comprehensive anti-discrimination ordinance. So it does not only safeguard the rights of a special few, but it also has clauses safeguarding the rights of every marginalized sector in the community, whether it be yung disabled community, diba? Or like, despite your age, your gender, your social status, your religion, and in Tawi-Tawi, your tribes. So it encompasses a lot of things. So that was one way that we were able to pass it.
But Dayang Imán Sahali is beyond the ADO and your HIV ordinance. What else have you championed and for the benefit of your people?
Well, even before I got into politics, you know that first and foremost, I was an agriculture advocate. So it's really my first love, and that's really what I champion for all the time. The welfare, the progress for our farmers and fisher folk, and our agricultural background in general. I want to strengthen it even more. And then of course, since I'm a woman and I've seen firsthand how hard it is to be a woman and yung multiple burdens that women in our society carry, that goes hand in hand with my advocacies as well, women and youth empowerment, because I am part of the youth and I am a woman, so of course I gotta stand for my people.
Yeah, actually, I heard that Panglima Sugala is sort of like the agricultural area of Tawi-Tawi. Is that true?
Yes. We are called the food basket capital of Tawi-Tawi, and so Tawi-Tawi is an island province, and in my municipality alone, I have 11 island barangays and 6 lang yung mainland barangays ko. But I would say na among all the municipalities in Tawi-Tawi, we really are the agricultural backbone of the province, and we're the municipality na we have the strongest agricultural background na, I'm not sure, have you been able to visit us during our tabu or our market day?
I've been wanting to visit it, remember?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna share. I think, Panglima Sugala is probably one of the few or the only one, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, where the art of bartering is still very much alive. So what happens is that our farmers from we have root crops, like our staple food is cassava, coconuts, bananas,
agri-products,
vegetables, our agri-products. So binibenta yun sa tabu or market namin. During Saturday, it's what we call tabu day or our market day. So other municipalities kasi strong lang sila when it comes to aquaculture. So they have yung mga seaweed, seafood, stuff like that. Pero kami, we have both.
Meron din kayong seaweed.
Yes, we are the number 2. We're the number 2 producer of seaweed in the entire province. So that's the thing. We're not only strong on our aquaculture products, but our agricultural background is very strong. We're the only ones in the province of Tawi-Tawi na ganon. So what happens is that other people from other municipalities go to our market day to exchange goods. they exchange their products, their aquaculture products, for our root crops.
Based on your answers, the policies, the programs, the things that you advocate for your people, and beyond the Anti Discrimination Ordinance for the LGBT, truly it embodies yung idea of being the elders of the community. That's why you were in that position. You know, you've been doing this public service and you've done so much. What else you could have done if you had the opportunity and the resources?
Oh, a lot. It's funny you say na I've done a lot. Kasi for me, looking back, election time, campaign period is fast approaching. And then looking back, I'm like almost 3 years into this and feeling ko hindi pa enough yung nagawa ko. Na parang ang iksi pala ng isang term to do everything that I want to do. But the thing is, that's the thing. A lot of people tell me I'm very idealistic, I'm very aggressive with the things that I want to do, and a lot of people credit my age for that. Or parang, since I'm a neophyte, so since I'm new in politics, a lot of people have told me, ganyan ka lang kasi bago ka lang sa politics and you're so young. But I always tell them, no. Even if, Allah blesses me with like a long career in politics, and even if I finished my term 9 years as a vice mayor in Panglima Sugala, I still want to be the same. I still want to be idealistic. I still want to be aggressive with the change that I want to see. I don't want to be jaded. Alam mo yun, ayokong maging jaded ako in the sense na masanay ako sa traditional forms of politics, the good and the bad. Parang I want to stay idealistic. I wanna do more landmark ordinances. I want to pass more landmark ordinances that cater to more people. And when you ask me, like, what else can I do with more resources? Endless possibilities talaga. There are so many things I want to do. There are so many things I want to lobby for.
So what are the challenges of Panglima Sugala facing? No, kasi it's still a municipality, and your family have been a public servant for a long time in that area. What's the development with the people and with the entire municipality?
Okay, so from third-class municipality this year, we're already classified as a first-class municipality. I think we're one of the 3 municipalities in Tawi-Tawi. Correct me if I'm wrong. Basta 3 to 4 municipalities in Tawi-Tawi that's considered a first-class municipality. But it's really hard to gauge progress and development when you think about it in the traditional sense. So what do I mean? Number 1, we're an island province. I don't think a lot of people realize gaano kahirap mapuntahan even our island barangays. We don't travel. Our main mode of transportation is cars. Our main mode of transportation is boats. When they do the census na parang how they find out whether people are living below the poverty line or not, tapos yung mga questions nila, may TV ba sila sa bahay?
So it's focused on material things.
Parang may TV ba sila sa bahay? Or may fridge ba sila sa bahay? So when you ask our people stuff like that, number 1, we live in islands. Bakit hindi nila tanungin, nakakakain ba kayo 3 times a day? Yes, more than. Diba? Like, yes, they can eat 3 to 5 times a day. They eat crabs every day na sobrang mahal sa Metro Manila, pero doon it's normal. Yung lapu-lapu namin, we don't count it by kilo. You can buy like 7 to 10 pieces of lapu-lapu for 150 pesos to 200 pesos. In our municipality, we are so rich in the sense na we can eat those types of seafood every day. So yung parang medyo na like iffy ako sa traditional forms of like indicators like that na they have a TV at home, they have cable at home. Kasi ganun yung questionnaire nila chine-check ko, and I always ask them about it na parang, bakit ganito yung questionnaire nyo? It really doesn't apply for everyone. It shouldn't be a one-all-be-all questionnaire na parang yung itatanong nyo sa people in other parts of the country, yun din yung itatanong nyo dito sa amin.
Can you share to us on what motivates you to put up Mangan? It's such an amazing aquaculture social enterprise. But I'm curious, how does it really uplift communities, mothers, and people on the ground, especially in Panglima Sugala?
Mangan by Imán is the social enterprise that I founded during the pandemic. So it's the first of its kind in the sense na we really wanted to develop what we call the Mangan by Imán cycle. So normally kasi in a social enterprise, you pick a beneficiary and then you share portions of your profit, or you develop, diba? You develop that. But what makes Mangan by Imán special is that every step that we do, we make sure na a sector of the community benefits. So what we do in Mangan by Imán is that we were able to produce the first ever locally produced seaweed chips in the Philippines. Kasi yung seaweed chips that most Filipinos are aware of are the nori chips, diba? So these are from Japan, Korea, but sa Mangan by Imán, Tawi-Tawi kasi is the number 1 producer of seaweed in the Philippines. It's the seaweed capital of the Philippines. Around 20% of the entire seaweed production in the country comes from Tawi-Tawi. So ang napansin ko, ang dami naming raw ingredients, but we did not have a product that we can probably call our own that's already processed, or yung may market lineage or may value adding. Like Cebu has their dried mangoes, diba? Baguio has their strawberry jam, yung mga ganon. Parang wala kaming, ang dami naming seaweed pero wala kaming product na ganon. So we arrived on the idea of creating the seaweed chips. So it's all organic. And what makes it really special is that when the pandemic hit, I knew that we would be hit the hardest. First of all, on our normal day-to-day lives, our geographical location, nasa dulo po ng Pilipinas, ang Tawi-Tawi. So we're called the southernmost frontier. So we knew we would be hit. Our geographical location, the remoteness of our hometown. So my sister and I wanted to do something to help Sana. And I've always been an advocate for our farmers and fisher folks. So what we did with the seaweed chips is that we skipped the notion of the middleman. So we source our seaweed directly from our farmers, skipping the notion of middleman and paying them equitably, paying them ethically. Tapos, sa next step nun, we wanted to help another sector in the community, which was our women's sector. So what we did was that we tapped yung mga housewives or unemployed women in the community, and then we tapped them to actually create, to cook, to manufacture the seaweed chips. And what's surprising with that, Rhadem, is that na-witness ko, it does not only give them the sense of economic empowerment in the sense na they're getting paid and nakakatulong na sila sa family. But it also gave them a sense of parang gender empowerment in the sense na nakakatulong na sila sa family nila, nakakatulong pa sila sa community nila kasi they're creating something that gives recognition to our municipality with cooking, which is what they've done all their lives. They cook for their family. Kahit na wala pa sila sariling pamilya, they cook for their moms, their parents, they cook for their siblings. Na parang itong cooking pala, it can give them also parang this recognition and this sense of empowerment. And it's something that they've done their whole lives. Tapos, yung last step ng Mangan by Imán cycle namin is that we developed a school called the Tongbangkaw Sailing School. Sa Manila, it is what normally known as Bachao. So, they really do not like traditional forms of education. Number 1 is that they don't want to go to the mainland to learn. And then second, there's instances of bullying. So, yung Tongbangkaw Sailing School, it was a way to adapt to parang change traditional modes of education to adapt to their culture and to adapt to what they really needed. And majority of the children of that school are also the children of our seaweed farmers. So parang it's all just a cycle and every step goes back to the community talaga. So that's how it started, and it started doing really well. It started winning awards, and I really thought for a time na yun na talaga yung career pa.
Tapos biglang nag-vice mayor ka.
Yeah. Masyadong silang nagalingan sa model. So yun yung sinasabi ko na you don't need to be an elected official. You don't need a position. You don't need to win an election to be called a public servant.
So young people are often discouraged to enter politics, no? And there's a lot of reasons why. And it's mostly for me, I don't agree with most of those reasons because those are a little bit traditional and very laid back. But what can you say to all those young people who aspire to, or not just aspire, but having the capacity to lead, but they are being discouraged not to pursue it?
Well, I feel like kasi politics traditionally is seen to be the world of the privileged and the powerful, but that is changing. It's changing rapidly, and it's changing so fast. And I think na we need more young people in politics, actually, because young people bring more energy, they bring innovative ideas, they challenge social norms, they challenge societal beliefs. Kasi bata tayo we have the energy, we're aggressive for that. So what I wanna say to other young people is that we need you. We need you in politics. We need you in positions of power, because the system will never change unless we do. And hopefully with this new breed of leaders, hopefully the system does change, and it changes to a more inclusive, to a more progressive one, wherein really service above self. Hopefully people get more educated or more inspired, in the sense na you do not win elections based on how many times you sang or how many times you danced in the stage, but actually you win elections based on your credibility, based on how many people you've actually helped, based on how many programs you've implemented. But at the same time, let's also change this narrative na yung mga tinutulong sa constituents mo is coming out of your own pocket, or it's parang utang na loob, because it's not. It's your job. It's part of, alam mo yun, it's part of your responsibility once you were elected into office. So let's change that narrative, and let's put into our minds na, since, like for me, since I'm an elected official, kailangan talaga kung may matutulungan, it's so cliche kasi to say, diba? Pero once you're immersed in that grassroots level talaga, you'll see na even these tiny programs, like kahit soft programs lang, will really change the trajectory of someone's life. So hopefully, this upcoming elections, let's vote people based on how deserving they are, based on their advocacies, based on their programs, on their credibility, and not what they dance or not what they sung on stage. Oh my God, don't get me cancelled. But I don't sing on campaigns, or I don't dance.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
Oh.
Are you taking
That's a really good question.
a bigger role in public service? Because as much as Panglima Sugala needs you as a vice mayor, you cannot be vice mayor forever.
Actually, that's a really interesting question. And what I've always told people is that ayokong tumanda as a politician. I don't want to see politics as a long-term career goal. Like for me, if na-render ko na lahat ng service that I could possibly do for Panglima Sugala, for Tawi-Tawi, for my community, in a 2 terms, or if I'm lucky, if I'm blessed enough, then 3 terms. If na-render ko na lahat ng possible, then okay, I'll be happy to leave. At least lahat ng nagawa ko, instead na i-prolong ko in 18 years, if magawa ko siya in 9 years, isn't that a good thing? And then I can, I can do other things. I can maybe proceed into law. I can work with the United Nations. Diba? I can live abroad if I wanted to. But at the same time, one thing I've really realized is that when the call of leadership, when service calls you really have no choice but to answer. So I'm not Allah. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future, but one thing is for sure, I'll probably never stop rendering service to Panglima Sugala, because I really love my municipality. Like, I think, yung parating mo sinasabi na parang, it really exudes from me, na parang lumalabas talaga in all my pores, na I really love my community. I love Panglima Sugala. I love Tawi-Tawi. I love our culture. I love my province. So parang no matter what happens, whether in a position or not, I'll probably never stop being a public servant. I'll never stop rendering service to the community, no matter what.
With all these thoughts, efforts, and vision for Panglima, do you feel and see yourself as the mother of Panglima, or a mother of the community?
Oh my gosh, not naman mother. Nakakaloka mother! But more as like an older sister. Probably as an ate. I see myself as an ate, an older sister of the community. Like, ang tapang-tapang ko magsabi na ganito ganyan, but I can't do this all on my own. I always listen to my elders. I always listen to their guidance. I listen to my mentors.
Okay, guys, we're down to our last question. So, Dayang, how can people support your initiative and how can they contribute to the change that you want to lead?
Okay, so, well, I mean, if you specifically, you can check out Mangan by Imán on Instagram. You don't have to buy anything, but just check out what the social enterprise actually do, because it's very interesting. It's very educational for a lot of people, especially if you're not familiar with tawi-tawi, or if you're not familiar with seaweed farming or culture on the southernmost part of the Philippines. It's very interesting and very educational. But on a much broader terms, I just want everyone to try to be as inclusive as possible. And I know a lot of people hate that term, especially in today's political climate, where, alam mo yun. So, and a lot of people apparently hate liberals now, but it's not being liberal, it's being just progressive in the sense na be open to other people. It doesn't have to be a certain group, but just be open to other people's cultural beliefs, societal norms, be open to the beliefs of other religions or the belief of other tribes. Be inclusive in your thoughts, be inclusive in what you do. Don't think that the whole world just revolves a certain place or a certain core group. And support our local farmers. It's a crime against humanity that they're the ones who put food in our table, but they're one of the hungriest sectors in the Philippines. So, and any way that we can do, buy at your local palengke, buy directly from your farmers.
It's like love local, buy local.
Yeah, love local, buy local. Easier said than that. Easier said than done. Because a lot of people think that buying local is expensive, but it's really not. You can go to your local palengke instead of going to like a supermarket store, buy directly from your farmers. Ganon. Tapos wag nyo silang baratin. Kasi diba, a lot of people do that.
Konti lang yung income, yung kapital, hinabarat pa.
Yeah,
that is
so don't
true.
do that.
Yeah. So I agree with what you mentioned. No, it really embodied the language of coexistence, respect, and at the same time, especially bayanihan.
Yeah.
That is why we have all these advocacies that we support, we push, because we wanted to help, may it be our constituents, neighbor, friends, and the marginalized communities. And with your style of leadership is quite a fresh air.
Really? Thank you.
I mean, I've been to a lot of places in Bangsamoro, so I can tell. And
a lot of people tell me that actually.
So, okay, that's all, guys. And thank you so much, Vice Mayor Dayang Sahali,
Thank you
for
for
gracing
having
us for this
me.
episode. We have learned so much, and I hope our audience on your computer or TV or wherever you are have learned so much on young leadership and pushing the boundaries and making sure that no one get left behind in our pursuit to development and humanity.
Yes, also if you have time, please don't be scared to visit us in Tawi-Tawi. It's a very, very beautiful place. It just has, negative connotations based on its past, based on the history of the region itself.
But now
But
it's
really,
progressing.
It's very safe, very beautiful. So if you have the time, please don't be scared to go to Tawi-Tawi and visit me and say hi. It's gonna be fun.
Okay, guys, and that's all for this episode. And once again, this is the Pathbreaker, and I'm Rhadem, your host. See you next time.
Yay!
Woo-hoo-hoo!